Alright. I like how people are already trying to say first in the chats like this. If anybody's noticed, whenever in the video comments people say first and stuff like that now, I don't even reply to their comment. Alright, thanks. Think I've got a cold coming, so feel a bit tired and crap, but I'll do a stream for a bit as well as I feel doing it. So I'll just let some people join, and then we'll sort of start doing a stream. Yeah, it's fine. I know, I'm just sort of saying, when people shout out first and all stuff like that, it just gets a bit irritating. Especially when people try and make the comment before watching a video and then they ask a question that was in the video because they couldn't be bothered to watch it to the end. So, let me know if there's any audio problems or whatever with the video and stuff like that, or the stream, but obviously it'll have to be a consensus thing. I haven't played Battlefield 4, at least I don't think I have. I've played Battlefield 3. Bad Company 2 is probably my favourite Battlefield, even though I know Battlefield 2142 and 1942 and Battlefield 2 are better games, really. You know I like Flecktarn. I assume you know I like Flecktarn. GP7's bad, but if you get one where the actual screw connector's fine, it will at least work. Scott GSR, in my opinion, is a much worse mask, but I've ranted about that enough times already. Let's see if I can get this pop-out chat configured about right. I've finished streaming Half-Life 2, so I won't be doing any more Half-Life 2 live streams. Yeah, that's now an A1 SLR, the rifle in the background. So it's the British version of the FN FAL. So yeah, it's basically, I always get it down on every stream, so I won't get it down right now, but it's basically the FAL, but it was in imperial, not metric measurements, and there's a couple of minor changes. You can look up online if you want a big list of little minor things they changed with it, but it's like the charging handle's slightly different. There's a thing so you can use it with gloves if it's cold, so you can make the trigger guard expand. Speaking of Flecktarn, I did have my extra pair of Flecktarn trousers come today, which I ordered. And funnily enough, they're in a different shade of Flecktarn, because apparently Germany didn't have very good quality control of the printing of Flecktarn, which is interesting. So I was hoping to get some ready ones. I got the darker ones, so they're actually better camo, but they're not as good, they don't look as cool, basically. I wouldn't believe a word of what British intelligence said, because they are now backpedaling on the Russia thing, aren't they, because everybody didn't believe them. I don't know if they've added any new gas masks, have they? I saw there was that zombie mode thing recently, and I didn't really play much of that, but they had sort of 3M style masks on. I think that was about £400 or just under, but this got brought up last stream, because the UK gun laws have changed now. Regarding deactivated guns, I can no longer sell that unless I have it paid to have it destroyed even more, because that's a deactivated rifle, not a live one. Because semi-autos are banned in the UK. Obviously, if you're in somewhere like the US and you want a live FAL, they will cost a lot more. But oh, look, the airsoft question comes up again, like every stream. Airsoft's fine. I don't mind airsoft. I don't go very often because it's hard to organise, and there's not a site near me that runs airsoft all that frequently. Regarding the mask that looks like an S10 in Battlefield 4 or whatever it was, somebody had asked me about that before. It's a Chinese, what's the name of it? FMJ08, I think. Chinese FMJ08, I'm pretty sure that's it. If you Google that, it's a Chinese rip-off of the S10. No, the M10 is not my favourite mask. It's probably not my least favourite mask. Weirdly, the darker version of Flecktarn, the label in this pair of trousers is far more recent than the label in my lighter one. From what I've heard, it's the factories that printed them varied. Like, you know, they didn't have a consistency on dye. But if you do Google Flecktarn variants, there's lots of pictures where people have lined up lots of Flecktarn gear that's weirdly printed. Yeah, I might stream more video games. I'm just not going to stream more Half-Life 2 for now, because we completed the best bits of it on the stream. I don't know what the best mask I've got is. My favourite mask is the Avon CT12. Closely followed by the Forshada or Forshida, how it's pronounced, A4. How many crossbows do I have? Good question. I'll try and tally that up. I won't count pistol crossbows because I've got several of those and I can't count them easily. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I've got 6 full-size crossbows. I think stream seems to be lagging for a few people. Seems to be lagging at my end. Has Steam started downloading updates for games or something? I'll close Steam in case that's messing with the thing. But I've got nothing else using the internet, so it shouldn't be lagging. Unless it's at YouTube's end, I don't know. Alright, just give it a moment and see if it calms down. Hopefully it will. Yeah, this is weird. The settings are how I always have them. Let me check the stream options. Has YouTube done anything with it? That's strange. Hopefully that's stopped lagging now. Hopefully. But yeah, there's nothing running in the background that should be using up internet. So, you know, that is very odd. Right, let me go back to the chat now, because hopefully that's resolved the lag. Oh, are we having it again? Alright, see ya. Alright, so did I miss any questions? Because I saw Mr. Jeffrey started asking something, but then I didn't get an actual thing from him. No idea really what's going on at Area 51. Yeah, but the whole thing with that is now fallen apart. I don't know if you've seen this, but Porton Down said they never said it was Novichok. Or they never said Russia did it, or something like that. The UK's deleted several tweets they made blaming Russia. I think I have 80-something masks now. So, yeah. No, I don't work for the KGB. KGB isn't around anymore. It's, is it the FSB? I'm sure the people who are from Russia will actually be able to tell you that. No, I'm obviously not really a Russian spy. As for Chinese masks, it really varies on the mask how good they are. The Chinese military masks, if you get one in a size that fits you, are pretty good. Some of their civilian masks are apparently a bit crap. I've only got the TF1. Alright, I was just drinking some ale then, and I thought it was going to show up on the camera, but I think it was a bit lower. So if anybody's wondering what I was drinking, it is Adnam's Ghost Ship, which seems quite good. So if anybody's wondering what I'm drinking, I'm 24. That's what I'm drinking. So did I miss any actual questions there? So let me scroll up. The best gas mask I've got, you already asked me that, and I said it's probably my Avon CT12. Legal drinking age in the UK is either 17 or 18, I think, depending on which part of the UK you're in. And if you're, I think if you're drinking in a restaurant or something like that, it's 17. If you're buying alcohol yourself, it's 18. But then, you know, unless you have ID, there's lots of places that might ID you if you're well over 18. I know a bit about the Troubles, but again, I think I've said over and over, I'm not going to get into like dodgy civil war conflicts in these things because I get people on both sides shouting like idiots. No, Chinese gas mask filter is not made from rice. It took me ages to work out if you were saying that as a joke originally, and I wasn't sure if it was a joke or if there was some kind of like inefficient rice filter. Yeah, I don't know why it's actually lagging because I'm using the same settings I'm always using. Saying that, there are some people digging up the road near me where there's probably the internet cable. Yeah, you know, the type... Oh, the type 33, sorry, not the type 32. Let me Google it. I think you might have said about that before. Oh yeah, you said about that before. It's... reminds me a bit of that Finnish one that's a bit weird. But yeah, so it's a lot better than the Type 32 then, I guess. No, I have no interest in gas mask porn. I sometimes get weird messages from people saying like, this is so sexy, this video, you know, random gas mask videos. Bit creepy, weird, really weird, you know, it's people having a fetish for respiratory equipment. Favourite World War II rifle? I've only got two in my collection, and that's an M1 carbine and the Lee Enfield. The Lee Enfield is the one that you won't be able to see that's slightly above. Oh, let me just turn the camera so you can see it. I'll tell you what, if I go change my screen to this mode, I can see the real-time thing, so there you go. Lee Enfield up there by the SLR. You can see that there. Now I'll put that back to hopefully where you can see me, because that's why I never like adjusting this camera. It never goes back properly. So, there we go. It's not so much the masks, it's the filter tray. Obviously, the better the mask, the longer it lasts, but basically, it's like, if exposed to things like blister agents or corrosive chemicals, a mask obviously does break down. Modern masks made of better rubber last longer, but it's mostly down to the filter, because in most cases the filter will expire before the mask falls apart, if that makes sense. Now, I've got this running through my computer, running directly off an Ethernet cable, with the webcam plugged into the PC, the blue microphone there. No, I've not had any weird paranormal experiences recently. I think when I did the last stream when I talked about them, that was I've watched some historical reenactments, but I've never like joined any reenactors group. I do amateur dramatics, but that's like, you know, actual panto type stuff, not. My monitor is 100 Hz, not 10 FPS. That'd be 100 FPS, but. No, there's not a converter. Some people are on about making one, but there's not one that exists at the moment, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, the only theory I can have, unless we're going to go down the conspiracy angle of the government is trying to censor me, the only theory I have on the why the video might be lagging, because there's nothing running in the background, is that they're doing some roadworks near me, so maybe they're digging up and messing with the internet cable. There's actually, I don't know if it's in Survive to Fight, which is the old British manual, there's a thing called defecating in an NBC suit. Let me Google it. Although this is probably going to bring up more creepy porn, isn't it? Can I find a thing of it? But basically, there was a British manual. They actually showed you how to pull it down to take a shit or have a piss with your Mark III or Mark IV suit on. I think it was in Survive to Fight. but I can't find it on Google. But yeah, there was a thing that was literally like, this is how you use it if you want to use it. Well, I think this was basically, if you're not being exposed to gas currently, but you have to stay in the NBC gear, it's showing you how to efficiently pull it down, go, and then put it back up. I'm not running it on Wi-Fi, I'm running it through Ethernet. Well, if there's nerve gas, you don't go, do you? You try and survive. I haven't been paintballing, I've been airsofting a couple of times, but as keeps being brought up, there's not a site near me that's convenient to go to, sadly. Otherwise I would go airsofting more. I'd get my UCARA thing sorted, then I'd be able to buy replica guns easily. What I'm probably going to buy next that might interest people is, well, the thing I really wanted to get, sadly I can't find anymore. I wanted to get the Cold Steel English bill, the bill hook, but sadly they don't seem to be for sale anymore anywhere, so I might get another Cold Steel polearm, or I might get another type of polearm. I quite want to get like a 6-foot massive halberd type thing. My Google Plus is just linked to this channel as far as I'm aware, but I very rarely do anything on Google Plus because it's sort of a system nobody wants, nobody needs. I'd rather pick World War II than World War I, to be honest, because World War I, at least on the Western Front, is sitting in a muddy trench till you either get shelled or shot with a machine gun, die of an infection. No, Nova 6 isn't a real weapon, it's based on nerve agents, but it's not a real thing. But maybe they're interested in doing a Wii in an NBC suit, unless that's combining the sort of golden shower type stuff with the actual gas mask fetishism, I don't know. I've just been looking on a lot of the sites that retail them in the UK, but Cold Steel's own site doesn't seem to do it in the UK anymore, so I'm assuming it's discontinued. So you bought an S10, but it's not an S10. Is it the N10? If you Google N10 respirator, that's the version they made for civilians in very low numbers, but weren't, you know, massively popular because the government didn't want to buy them for civilians. They were exported to a few countries, but oh, it's the gas mask favourite question again. It's CT12 is my favourite gas mask, and my least favourite is probably the GSR. Yeah, I like Hickok 45. I found a new channel recently. Well, it's not a new channel, but I found it recently. It's really good. It is Paul Harrell. Does anyone watch Paul Harrell? I think he's a former US Marine. And he does sort of down-to-earth video shooting and testing different calibers against each other. As far as I'm aware, the N10 is much rarer than the S10 and stuff like that, because it was made in limited numbers for civilians, and then very few people bought it, so... My favourite air rifle I've actually shot was a Beeman one. I don't know what the exact model was. Out of the two air rifles I've got, I would have said my Crossman Nitro Venom, but that's sort of screwed up now. The barrel's gone wonky, so the BSA Hornet out the ones I've got, but there was a Beeman one I've shot that was very nice, but Wyrauk, or however it's pronounced, do the really nice ones. Medieval weaponry, right, cool, let me check that out, thank you. Because I tried Night Shop and the Cold Steel UK one, so I think it's discontinued, but some places might still have it. Ah, you're right. 151 quid though, so it's more than the recommended retail price. I might have to contact them to confirm availability first, because it's one where I'm pretty sure it's this site I've ordered from before, where they kept saying, oh wait, we didn't have that in stock, we didn't have that in stock, and I eventually had to get a refund because everything I tried to buy wasn't in stock. But thanks for that, I will probably check that out at some point. The CT12 doesn't have the drinking tube, that's the FM12. It's just some FM12 models are 2 filter models, some are just the 1 filter models. If you're on a tight budget, I'd recommend... That's tough because it totally depends where you are in the world. I mean, if you're on a really tight budget, you buy either a GP5, the Polish MC1 or the Czech CM3, because you can get those for like $10 or £pounds if you look hard enough. Then you buy like an FP5 filter, another working filter, and then you obviously have a working mask. That's very basic. For $40 you might be able to get a much better mil-surp mask than that though. What was the question? Because people are saying stop spamming the question, but I don't think I actually saw the question. As long as the country doesn't have an export law, then it's legal to buy them. No, I haven't seen Hacksaw Ridge, but yeah, it's legal to buy masks and have them exported from countries as long as they don't have a law on it. But US does have a law on that. Any idea what the mask was with 3 filters? I don't have an N10, no. Right. As far as I'm concerned, Kennedy was killed by Lee Harvey Oswald, but who put Oswald up to killing him, I don't know, I wasn't there. The one that's most comfortable to wear for long periods of time, you only need a P3 filter. You know, a good particulate filter on the mask when it comes to infections. So... probably either my CT12 or my Forshida mask, just because they're really comfortable. Have that with the P3 filter on. Actually, I might say the FM12 just in case I need to drink with it on. It totally depends which country you're getting it from. Is Siege of Jadotville the one in Africa with like the Irish soldiers or the Irish peacekeepers or something? I keep meaning to watch that, but I haven't seen it. That's got fouls in. Yeah, I've done videos on the MP5, look it up. I've been asked about the mask again. I think it's 80 something at this point. Yeah, I have no idea about Germany's laws. You'd have to find that out. I've said before I was planning going on the Chernobyl trip about 2 years ago. Then that Ukrainian civil war happened and you can't really do it easily anymore. I don't have an M1 Garand at all. So I don't have either a replica or an original because I don't have an M1 Garand. C3 is quite comfortable in my opinion. Just the straps are a bit crap and the straps are broken on mine. It's good that guns are legal in America because America has the Second Amendment which shall not be infringed, which means they need to stay legal, and if you don't like it, leave America. It's probably Yugoslavia that sold it to Israel, not Serbia. Lee Enfield, yeah, that's a Lee Enfield, I think number 3, because the Lee Enfield numbers are confusing, but it's the like World War I, World War II model before they did the number 4, which was like the simplified model. Yeah, I've got a Kevlar vest and a flak jacket. I don't have any like plate carriers or anything. The best World War II mask I reckon I've actually got is my Finnish M39, the Finnish civilian one. Because it's like a helmet mask that makes a good seal and it has a proper valve on it and mine still works. And that doesn't fog up too much. The light anti-gas respirators are good, but they fog up quite easily because they've not got no oral nasal cup. Just type in urban camo and you can get the urban camo in red and white. You can get them in yellow and white, I think, as well, and orange and white. What's the Mestel SGE 403? It's the mask I know everybody shills, but yeah, I've got lots of steel helmets. Look at my videos on them. I assume the GP8 does exist. The GP9's the more famous one. I've got more than 4 helmets. The exact number I can't remember. I've got a load of the same old British like Cold War helmets, because often they get sold cheap at car boot sales. Stream's not died at my end. The last Swiss mask I know of is the SM90, but I don't know if they've upgraded that. That's a tough one, Joe, between either MTP, which is the current British Army camouflage, because it's like DPM, a bit noisier in multicam colours, so it works well. Flecktarn is probably my overall favourite, just because I think Flecktarn is great. I really like the pattern, and I like how colourful it is, although it does vary a lot on the print, as said about the colours. And my favourite old retro camo is Strictarn, but Strictarn isn't that great in terms of it not being disruptive. Well, Swiss Army knife is a lot more practical in terms of you'll probably end up using it a lot more because it fits in a little pocket. And, you know, there's lots of different attachments for it. I mean, the K-bar is more of a real knife, isn't it? I don't have a proper real K-bar, but I do have the kind of Israeli style one, which is close enough to a K-bar. I mean, that's a nice knife, but said you can't legally carry a knife like that in the UK, but I can carry my Swiss Army knife, so I'd say Swiss Army knife. But it depends if you're in a country where you can open carry big knives or conceal carry big knives. Yeah, the US M50 is the Avon M50 because they bought them from Avon. But like I said, I've never had a chance to get my hands on one, so I can't say too much about it. No Fallout player, they had a project a long time ago to replace the M40, and they basically had the same option of M50 or the GSR. They went with the M50, thankfully. Britain went with the GSR, and now we're saying help, get rid of the GSR. Yeah, I've got a Fairbairn Sykes as well. This is the reproduction one, so it's not reproduction because it's still the official licensed ones, isn't it? But yeah, if you had a knife to actually kill somebody, that would be it. Yeah, you said about the sword ones before, or I think somebody else did, but when I've looked, I've never seen any in stock at sensible prices, so I've just got open house. I used to work in a warehouse, that was my old job. I've been to the Imperial War Museum, if that's what you're asking. I'll have to look up both Marsh Camo and Spring Camo. Is this the German World War II ones? Because Googling it, none of them coming up look like World War II patterns. They're all like real tree stuff. Right, let me get that chat window back open. ACU isn't a camo. ACU stands for Army Combat Uniform. It's the US stuff. You're thinking of UCP, aren't you? Universal Camouflage Pattern, the awful grey one. I prefer the World War II style helm. Recurve definitely, because recurves are much harder to break, and you can repair them in the field unlike a compound. They're still legal, but they've made it even stricter on them, so you have to pay more for something that does even less. When I've been to the Imperial War Museum, there was a lot on display, but the best museum I've been to in the UK in regards to military stuff is Bovington Tank Museum, because they've just got so much in there. I love the M56 helmet. The really interesting one is the the original design they gave Hitler he rejected that East Germany made before the M56 that looks halfway between the M40 Stahlhelm and the M56. It looks a bit like the Fallschirmjäger paratrooper helmet, but I have no idea what the actual name for that was because it was only produced for a very short period. Well, it depends. If the US Army is in a theatre where they need a different camouflage and woodland BDU, then obviously they should have done it. But they should have never gone to that UCP camo because that's awful. It totally depends what kind of woodland you're in because they're not all equal. I mean, like I said, I really like Flecktarn, but no, I've not driven a tank, weirdly enough. I don't know where I'd do that. So for those of you who don't know what Flecktarn is, I'll just grab some. So that's Flecktarn for the people who don't know what Flecktarn is. They were the trousers that came today in the darker version of Flecktarn. All of this rather than the brighter Flecktarn. If you're wondering what I mean by the brighter version of Flecktarn, if that's in frame, let's see if it's in frame. Can you see the difference in colour between this one and this one, maybe? Hopefully. If I can lean over a bit more. The two Flecktarn variants are quite different in colour. This one has like different shades in it, so apparently the lighter Flecktarn's the earlier Flecktarn. Or the Flecktarn made by different factories. There's lots of conflicting information on that. Favourite armoured vehicles are Shilka, but that's not very armoured, but it's very cool. Yeah, I like Trump. Yeah, I mean, I like most of those cool old fighters and things, so, yeah, Flecktarn's really comfy as well, because it feels like moleskin cotton, even though it's not. Some of the older Bundeswehr stuff was moleskin cotton, but Flecktarn feels the same, even though it's like, only like 80% cotton, and it's 20% like something else, isn't it? I'll do silly videos now and again, but I just do them when I feel like doing them, and I've got a good idea for them. I don't know, up to you what you want to get. If you get the KGB uniform, can you go up to radical leftists with it and then scare them by saying, "Ah, good work, comrade, but now you go to the execution wall." Can't remember what year my XM28 is without looking at it, and I can't remember the size without looking at it. There's a few people have made military museums on their property. That's generally how most museums start. They're private collections which then get turned into like a paid for attraction, or then become free if it's, you know, owned by the right group. It depends what you want them for. For lots of walking, I think low cut boots are better, but if you're on really tough terrain, I prefer the high cut boots with like the steel toe caps and everything else. Oh, we've got the airsoft question again, and I've already explained this over and over, so I'm not going to explain it again. And the smoking question that I explain every stream, so I won't explain again. I recommend watching a lot more of my videos rather than asking the first gas mask was my M61V2. There's a video on that. So, look up the videos if they interest you. No, didn't hear about an F-16 that crashed. Right. Dan, I really like Stronghold Crusader. I was playing that the other day in a stream. I like the War Game ones. I sort of like War Game. Age of Empires 2 is great. Age of Empires 3 is good as well. What's the other one? Steel Division, Normandy 44, that was made by the people who did War Game and Ruse. That's fairly good as well. I generally prefer the more base buildy RTS games, but some of the instant action ones are quite good as well. If you want to look at the first video I made, just sort my channel by videos first to last. Yeah, they do get a bit annoying and repetitive questions, just because there's lots of people who never watch the FAQ videos, or they'll actually ask the same question over and over again in the stream. How does that work though? Because surely it wouldn't let you actually play on servers if it has vehicles up to 2015. Is it just single player? Yeah, I like the old Command & Conquer and Red Alert the most. I didn't like many of the new ones. Yuri's Revenge is quite good, isn't it? Is that Command & Conquer 2, Yuri's Revenge? It's the expansion, isn't it, for it? But that was quite good. But the modern Command & Conquers I have no interest in. I think Generals was the last good Command & Conquer, wasn't it? The sort of 3D one. Royal family, eh? As for them, they're a good tourist attraction. I don't believe in divine right, so you know, I couldn't really care about them. But I don't think they're really lizards or anything like that, if that's what you're getting at. I've got Hearts of Iron 4 on my Steam games list. I've barely played it. I played a lot of Hearts of Iron 3. And obviously I got Hearts of Iron 4 on a sale. And because you have to relearn a lot of stuff, I kind of got fed up in the air. I think the Air Force mechanics are a bit broken. And that really annoyed me when you're playing as some of the countries and your Air Forces don't work properly. It's one of those games where if I really got bored, I could probably sit down and learn it and then play a lot of it. But it's not the sort of RTS game I play a lot of. Because if I want to play Hearts of Iron, I'll load up Hearts of Iron 3 and play that. Alright, see your dancing brain. Fallout played out would totally depend on the situation. Because there's a lot of shit hits the fan situations. GP5 was my first Eastern Bloc mask, weirdly enough. Fighter plan, do you mean fighter planes? As said, my favourite Command & Conquer game is probably the first one. Yeah, I like these. A lot of people don't like them because they've not got pliers on, but obviously Victorinox Swiss Army knives are very good. The reason I like it is it's got a bottle opener, flathead screwdriver, and the Phillips screwdriver on it. And a can opener and everything else that you could want. I would say I would agree with national service, but then actually I won't, because currently the UK is used to wage illegal wars in the Middle East, so no, I don't agree with that. Yeah, I like fighter planes like I like a lot of other military stuff, but I'm not super obsessed with them. I have no idea what little boy you're on about, Asbestos Man. Probably a lot of times, saying GB5. If you cut your hand when using a Swiss Army knife, I guess you don't put your hand... You always cut away from you, don't you? With a Swiss Army knife, you cut like that. You cut away from you. You don't, you know, don't have your hand there and then... It's actually hard to do it wrong, but yeah. You always cut away from you with a Swiss Army knife. Again, I prefer lock knives in the sense that you can't make mistakes of them, but they're not legal to carry in the UK, lock knives. Yeah, the US should have adopted the FAL. If you don't know all about that, the FAL was originally, I think, in 280 British. Then the US said you need to do it in 762 NATO because everybody in NATO needs to adopt 762 NATO. But they said to FN, if you change the FAL to 762 NATO, the US will buy them. FN redesigned the FAL for 762 NATO. Then the US said, actually, it needs to go in our competition against the M14. The FAL won the competition against the M14, and the US went with the M14 anyway. Then they withdrew the M14 from service very quickly because it had lots of problems. So yes, they should have used the FAL, is the short answer. Yeah, you see, when you close a Swiss Army knife, you don't ever put your hand like that. You obviously, even if you're closing it one-handed, you keep your hand away from the gap, and then you can't cut your hand with it. I don't hate soldiers, but the UK has been involved in several illegal wars that have destabilised the Middle East even more. So I don't hate the people that are in there and fighting there. I have a lot of respect for a lot of them, but that doesn't mean that our governments haven't committed war crimes and done illegal wars. You mean the L85 or the SA-80? L85A1 was absolute crap. L85A2 fixed a lot of the problems. I think apparently they've got an A3 now, or that's in production, which is supposedly alright, but again it has a lot of the bullpup problems, where, you know, the regular kind of standard rifles have less issues. Bullpups in theory could be great if somebody made a good one, but from what I understand every bullpup's been mediocre at best, including things like the Steyr AUG. But again, I've not shot them, so I can't really comment, and I don't want to be a Dunning-Kruger. The M16A1 is pretty cool. I like it because it has that cool looking plastic handguard. And as far as I'm aware, most of the problems of M16s jamming in Vietnam were actually due to the US supplying really bad ammo, telling the soldiers they didn't need to clean it, not giving them cleaning kits. But I like the AR platforms. They sound interesting Fallout player, but I've not looked into them enough. Probably AKM. I'd say actually I like the AK-74 more, because it's a bit more practical. Because obviously 5.45 by 39 has a flatter ballistic sort of thing, so it's obviously easier to hit targets with it. Makarovs are cool. I prefer the Tokarev, to be honest, but Chris Vector's interesting, but again I've not looked into it enough. I know it's that weird counterweight system to reduce recoil. Oh look, it's a gas... Oh, how many US gas masks do I have? Not many. I've got the World War II one. I think it's the M3 diaphragm mask. The XM28 E4 Grasshopper. The M17 and the MCU2P and the M9A1. So that's 5 masks, isn't it? I've just listed. I've got a couple of mess kits that have come with various canteens. I can't remember which ones they are. I think I've got an East German one. I think I might have an Osprey one. L1A1 SLR again. Yeah, the thing is with a lot of the training rifles is obviously when they're on the range and they're in perfect condition, that's very different than being in the field, sort of thrown around, getting dust and dirt in them and stuff like that. Don't know what the spiciest meme I've seen is recently. Yeah, the issue was with the M4s though, but because they were the carbine with a shorter barrel, they had lots of issue with 5.56 originally, didn't they? Not performing very well out of a short barrel. I think from what I've read and heard from other people, they've got 5.56 working really well now out of shorter barrels, but it was like a long time coming. Like with the M16, 5.56 was really good, but with the M4s, like they had lots of performance issues. Pretty low. If you're on eBay, you're more likely to find one in the UK. I was very pleased to have seen one when I did, and then again, the winning bid I put on it was nearly £100, I think, so I spent a lot on it. The M16 is for different roles. The FAU is very good for long-range engagement and being an all-round really tough rifle. The M16 is very good at being low recoil, carrying more ammo. It's like the right tool for the job, basically. As far as I'm aware, the current issue M4s, unlike the M16, have a fully automatic thing on the fire selector, and it's carbine. It's a much shorter barrel. With the L1A1, the not fire selector, the charging handle moves a bit, but it's not connected to anything on the inside, and I can remove the magazine, yeah. I think the Grasshopper's a lot cooler than the PBF, but the PBF's interesting, but I actually don't know off the top of my head what the worst gun in the world is. The L85A1 would definitely be a contender for that, but I'm sure there's even worse rifles than that. Yeah, the Garand's very cool because 30-06 is a hell of a caliber. I've got an MCU2P with missing straps that I think has a leaking front as well, and it's gone all orange where they use the, what's it called on it? The silicon, the clear silicon, rather than like plastic for the visor. Favourite guns, that one there. Are you on about the Shou rifle, or Shao rifle, whatever it's called? never watched Jake Paul's videos or Logan Paul's videos, so I can't comment. Yeah, it's because if you look up the reason for that, in Vietnam, US troops spent something like, it was, I've either seen it as $25,000 or $250,000, but supposedly they spent, you know, between that amount of money per kill, because they would spray the full auto on the M16s. I haven't had any really stupid comments for a while, and the UK government is trying to fall over itself now and pretend it didn't say Russia did it, if you've been following that, because there's no evidence Russia's done it. Of course, that's finally come out, and now they're going, oh, it was, we might not have said Russia, delete the tweets, delete the tweets. They used the M14 before the M16, yes, and then withdrew the M14 from service because they had loads of problems with it. Did anyone ever say if the French LMG was the Chow Chow? Yeah, I've got the plastic facepiece cover on front of it, but that doesn't stop the silicon from degrading. Silicon degrades because it's silicon. I definitely had some very much GCHQ-like shill comments when I did a video about the Russian nerve agent thing, where it's all like, you are a traitor to Britain, you are a Russian shill, Theresa May knows what's best, like almost copy and pasted. Well, I've got the M1 carbine on my wall. Ideally, the M1 carbine I think is very cool for the time, because it had the 30 round magazine, and the M2 carbine had a fire selector on as well. So it's kind of like a really early assault rifle, sort of. I mean, the M1 Garand has much longer range on it, and it's really powerful, but I think the carbine is cooler, in a way. S10. The M15 is nowhere near as comfortable as an S10. No, I don't have any atropine. I have some decontamination powders that have come with several masks, but with atropine, if you use that and you've not been exposed to nerve agent, you can give yourself a heart attack and die that way. So I would not recommend anybody mess around with atropine unless they really, really like need it. Forshida A4 over the S10, but the CT12 over the Forshida A4. Probably Spitfire, but both of them are good, but the Mustang was good at being a fast, really heavily armoured, you know, like heavily gun plane. The Spitfire was very good for manoeuvrability. Well, I've not shot a Mini 14. I know they're very popular, but... Do you mean thumbnails, not thumbnails? I use... Is it paint.net? It's like the free paint program that's fairly good. I've read the graphic novel of V for Vendetta and seen the film. Yeah. Have you seen those propaganda pictures they did recently, like safe beneath the watchful eyes and like I won't dissent, you shouldn't either, you make our country safer? I think they put those on the London Underground, but I don't go to London. CT12, as I've already said. Because it's not a US mask, so you have to find somebody that's going to be willing to sell it overseas. No, I don't think I've seen Iconic Arms videos. As I said earlier, the Messerschmitt 109 or BF 109 is a fine plane, but like I said, I haven't got any like super opinionated opinions on it. So, Desert Eagles have been chambered in 357 for quite a long time, because the Desert Eagle was originally, I think, 50 Action Express, wasn't it? But they made it in a hell of a lot of calibers to try and sell it. No, I'm not interested in buying anything from Ubisoft, to be honest. Right, see ya. I've already said to you already, we're not going to talk about like genocides or bombing of civilians or civil wars just because it's such a shitty topic to talk about. The Focke-Wulf was very good, wasn't it, when it first came out? I mean, the Focke-Wulf was good all throughout the war. If you want to know an interesting book about the Luftwaffe, If you haven't read this, I would recommend it. Hans Ulrich Rudel's book. Very interesting if you're interested in close air support aircrafts. Rudel is a really fascinating bloke, and obviously top scoring pilot in history, at least for ground kills. He wasn't a fighter ace because he flew a Stuka, but his air to ground score is pretty incredible. Sort of hard to believe, but it's obviously true. If a battery is heating up, you might want to just chuck it in a bath or something that's empty. It's like 9:03 in the UK now. No, I didn't play any simulator games really on the PS3. I like Demon Souls a lot on the PS3. I think Killzone 2 was on it. That was alright, wasn't it? But I'm mostly a PC gamer. I've answered that over and over. What PC do I have? It's the GPU is an RX 480 and it's an FX 9590 as the CPU. Play Insurgency now and again, yeah. I have somebody, I have 1 or 2 people actually that are sad enough to subscribe just to dislike videos. I mean, if you don't like the videos, why'd you bother watching them? Like, I don't really care at all, it's just sad though, isn't it? Well, as in Red Baron from World War One, yeah, obviously. Baron von Richthofen, yeah? We had this question already, Stalin. It's probably L85A1. It depends on the video, the like-dislike ratio. Some videos I get more dislike than likes. Some, it's about even. Then, I think on a lot of the gas mask content, because people who are into it probably like gas masks, the like ratio is generally very good, yeah, but there are some people who watch a video on purposely because they won't agree with it and then dislike it. Yeah, some of those dislikes as well, I said, are from one guy who subscribes just to dislike videos. I've also had weird ones where somebody says like, oh, this 10-minute video you did on a particular mask, I don't like this mask, so I'm going to dislike your video because you didn't, you showed a mask in a video I didn't like. Of course, it's the favourite gas mask question again. Never ends, does it? Yeah, Simo, or Simo, however it's pronounced, got a lot of the Russians, didn't he? A lot of the commies in the Winter War. Yeah, very good sniper. Was he like shorter than his rifle? I think he was like 5 foot at the most, wasn't he? He was a really short guy, but he was a very good sniper. Didn't use a scope either, did he? Because he said you'd see the sun glare on it. I don't think, sadly, I can sort my videos by the most liked or disliked, but I don't know off the top of my head. I know I did one video on a certain brand of air rifle pellets and I liked them, and people disliked the video because they said I don't like these pellets. That I had quite a lot of. No, not heard of Destroy Men books. Do you about the Russia and US war? What Russia-US war? Do you mean the Cold War? Obviously, it's a real shame Rhodesia got destroyed and turned into Zimbabwe, where everybody suffered. And similar things happening now to South Africa, isn't it? Like I said, I'm not going to get too political in these, but if you don't know about the farm murders and all the other stuff that happens in wonderful South Africa now, you should probably look that up. I was already asked about the first mask in my collection, Nokia M61 V2, the Finnish version of the American M9. I can't really give you any opinion on the M40. I know it's meant to be good, but I don't have one because US export ban. Hooray. Yeah, I don't read many ebooks just because I don't like reading from a screen. I've read a couple of ebooks all the way through, but it's generally something I avoid if I can do. It's alright if you get the Kindles, like the Kindle Fire, and then you can have it do text-to-speech. I'm alright listening to them if I'm on a car journey, but I really don't like reading off of a screen. Well, I wouldn't say Africa is splitting into two, because Africa's had lots of civil wars and, you know, wars over different countries. So it's not splitting into two. Africa's normally sort of in perpetual war. But yeah, like South Africa is just really bad. White phosphorus is really nasty stuff. If you've, obviously, yeah, burns people alive, causes poisonous burns that kill people. Pretty nasty thing. Again, it's the most hated mask question, probably Scott GSR, just because people seem to think it's good because it looks cool, even though it might kill you. Well, I'm not in America, but America should build a wall, because every country should have proper secure borders where you only get in if you're a legal immigrant, not an illegal one. Yeah, it's both the filters get in the way of the Scott M50. They're really bulky. Sorry, not the Scott M50, the Scott GSR. If you compare the Scott GSR to the Avon M50 and look how the difference in the filter size, despite them basically being the same thing, you'll realise why that's a problem. Apparently, British soldiers have to have both filters on at once. That's like a disciplinary thing, even though it makes shooting harder. You know, compared to what you used to do a mask, where you have a left or right-handed mask, so the filter's on the side you don't cheek weld with. I don't know, I've got lots of weird, creepy, threatening comments. I just block the people and don't give them any response. Well, it depends. For practicality reasons, machetes. For coolness factors, swords. There's been a lot of problems with this stream for some reason, with it like lagging in the start and things like that. I always read the comments. I actually read and reply to the comments all the times. That's a great price for a CT12. When you say what country do you want to go, do you mean what country do I want to go to? I'd love to go to America. Why do you want a shout out? Machetes also are less likely to rust. It lots of swords are carbon steel as well, so they require more maintenance. It's also harder to sharpen a sword than a machete. I just check the comments quite often. You know, like every couple of hours I'll look at the comments and reply to as many as possible. Cheapest, most practical mask you get is probably a GP5, then put an FP5 filter on it, or, you know, other things like that. I normally only give people shout-outs if I actually watch videos on their channel and I know they make good videos. The thing I really don't get is when people want a shout-out but they don't have any content. That just seems really weird to me. Why wouldn't I want to come to America? The thing is, if you make a good comment anyway, sometimes I read out the person's name, so you're technically getting a shout out then. I'm just interested in lots of military stuff, militaria, all that sort of stuff, both like medieval and like up to modern stuff. It's just gas masks are cheap to collect. You know, that you can get gas masks from World War II for like less than 50 quid, £50. Whereas if I was to get World War II rifles, World War II helmets, things like that, they're often much more expensive. Speaking of America, I was looking at which states had the stand your ground law earlier, because we had that thing in the UK where they've charged an old man with murder because two thugs broke into his house. One of them attacked him with a screwdriver. He wrestled the screwdriver off this thug, stabbed him to death with his own screwdriver, and now they're charging him for murder. The UK is a shithole country, let's be honest. Nah, I don't have any activated guns, but if I did, and I didn't legally own them, I wouldn't say that on here, would I? And if anybody didn't see earlier, this is the ale I'm drinking at the moment, which is quite nice. I'd recommend it if you're in the UK and you can pick it up in a supermarket. I think this is £5 for 4 of these. Adnams Ghost Ship. Fairly strong tasting pale ale, kind of a citrusy sort of lemon flavour to it. I'm not drunk. I've only had about half a pint now. It's not drunk. Oh cool, which Vietnam helmet do you have? I'll tell you a cool helmet I don't know if I've shown in the video before. Let's get it. Have you lot seen this helmet before? I can't remember if I've showed it. No, because if you use a GP5 for airsoft, a BB will hit the lens and break the lens, and there goes your eyes. This isn't a French helmet, this is the old British style PIF helmets from like the Zulu period. The colonial kind of helmets. Saying that, this was made in Vietnam. I think there's a label in here that says made in Vietnam. Yeah, oh, yep, there it is, if it shows up on the camera. I can't see if that's really showing up well, but it does say made in Vietnam on the inside. That's awesome, yeah. $20 for a Wehrmacht helmet's very good price. I do know that picture. Oh bother, Pooh said as he reloaded his Martini Henry. The British police helmets are fairly similar to this, the old type ones, yeah. I do have a replica of a Civil War, like Confederate hat as well. That's cool. Yeah, I don't have any actual helmets in this room. I've got a lot of helmets stored in another room, but yeah, this is the only helmet I've got in this room, and obviously this is not bullet or shrapnel proof, this is a PIF helmet. Last time I looked in the cupboard, it's not mounted yet, no. Yeah, €29 for an East German trench coat or greatcoat is a very good price. I got mine for like £12 or something. It was ridiculous. The postage cost more than it because it was on eBay. Nobody else bid on it but me, so I feel really sad for the guy selling it when I bought it, because obviously it was an East German greatcoat, really nice condition, massive wool overcoat. In real prices, they'd be worth like £100, and then I got it for like £3 something plus the postage, which I think was £12 in total. Favourite tank is probably, well, do we mean for practicality reasons or cool reasons? Like the T-72 I think is one of the coolest looking tanks ever. But obviously, like, the British Challenger 2 is probably one of the best tanks currently around. So Challenger 2 for real reasons, T-72 for cool factors. I'm not really a prepper now. I prep for short-term things, so we've got like water stockpiled in the house, canned food, all that sort of stuff, but I don't prep for long-term stuff just because of the simple fact that, you know, if something really bad happens that's going to be proper long-term survival risk, do you want to survive that? If you get what I'm saying. Yeah, being a YouTuber's alright as long as I don't get randomly demonetized for everything. Yes, any kind of Stowhound would be amazing for $20, even if it was rusted and missing the liner like mine was. I don't drink much soda, but the one I do like is cream soda, you know, like the vanilla flavour thing, and then mix that with rum. That's really nice if you mix cream soda with rum. Right, here's my tips if you're a new YouTuber, right? It's you do videos about something you're interested in, and you keep doing videos about something you're interested in, and it has to be something like you're passionate about, interested in, like that. Because if you're just doing it because you think something's like gonna catch on because you know, you want to be famous or something like that, you'll probably get demoralized. What's my favourite food? That's tough. Do you know what wagon wheels are for people outside of the UK? If not, Google wagon wheels. I really like wagon wheels jammies. But, yeah, SR-71 Blackbird's very cool. They have one at RAF. There's an RAF place that's not too far from me that I keep meaning to go to and don't go to, and they've got an A10 in there as well, like an RAF museum. Which OM14 gas mask filters? Do you mean Polish EO14 filters? We don't know, but I wouldn't really recommend using them. I'm centrist right is my political stance. Because you can't be too authoritarian because you don't trust the government. That's sort of my look on it. I don't know what Tim Tams are though. Yeah, you are right, that is RAF Cosford, that has the American Museum. Wait, no, it's not Cosford, is it? No, I've been to Cosford, it's not Cosford. It's RAF Duxford, isn't it? Yeah, it's RAF Duxford that has the American hangar, where they've got the thing. I know Cosford does have the Sabre there, they have an F-86 Sabre. But yeah, it's Duxford that has the A10 and the Blackbird. It's probably got like a B-25 and things like that there as well. Right, let's get the chat back up. When you say hard cookies, are they like the same thing as ship's biscuits? Because I've never actually tried those, but I know they last pretty much forever. Yeah, have you seen those like old MiG pilot suits? I think the MiG-25 and MiG-31 basically had like spacesuit kind of pilot suits for them. Don't have any gas masks to hand to show, to be honest. I'm not going to get one down for the stream, which is over an hour long now, and I'll be ending it soon. Favourite gun question again, the one there. The problem is, right, with MREs, is lots of them are stupidly expensive to buy for like a day's worth of food. I know they're like 3,000 calories or something, but when I've looked, a lot of MRE packs are like £20. It's like, really? For £20? You know how much food I could buy if I was buying packets of rice, you know, stuff like that. No, never watched The Walking Dead. I'm watching AMC's The Terror, though, at the moment, which is great, but sadly it's going to be a while before the episodes are out. You already asked do I have Tim Tams in the UK, and I said I don't know what they are. Alright, let me search what Tim Tams are then. I can tell you if they exist or not. Maybe they're sold under a different name. I'm pretty sure there's things like them. Penguin biscuits. If you search penguin biscuit, that looks very similar. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tim Tams like penguins. So yeah, we have those. Yeah, I know about Bohemian Grove. Have you seen Eyes Wide Shut? If you're interested in that sort of stuff, you probably like Eyes Wide Shut. Yeah, I'm a high-functioning autist. There you go. I actually have the card that I can show to the police. It's like a get-out-of-jail-free card. Because it's known that in the UK the police try and get you to admit to things you haven't done, especially people with mental illnesses and stuff like that. So, yeah, I have the card that you're meant to show them so they don't do you for like the thing like they did with that guy. It's quite famous. Was it Jill Dando? Like some reporter got shot and then they found like the nearest mentally ill man to get him to admit to do it so they could close the case even though he wasn't the killer. Just search on my channel L1A1 SLR and you'll find videos on the entire rifle. I did sixth form for a year and hated it. What do I do for a living? This. Yeah, every nation has gas masks for the military. Anyway, I'm going to finish the stream soon, so if you've got any interesting questions, ask them before I finish. Right, Keybird, what is this? So it's an abandoned B-29. I'll have a look at the article at some point, but it's a big wall of text and I don't have time to do that during the stream. I haven't been to the US at all, sadly. Yeah, I've read 1984 several times. There you go, there's proof. I've got the book right there. Right, have I missed any interesting questions, or is it just shit posting? No, I've never been in the army, and that's been explained over and over and over again. When you say AK-47s, I assume you mean AKMs, because the Russians never had a gun technically called the AK-47, unless you're on the prototype. It was always the AK, then the AKM. No idea what branch of the military I'd like to join, to be honest. Right, see all the people are off. I'm probably going to head off in a minute as well, because the stream's been over an hour, and as I said at the beginning, I've got a cold and don't feel great anyway. EU army, yeah. Definitely don't want that. They're meant to be NATO members. I'm not drunk. Right, anyway, I'm going to go offline then if I'm not getting any more sensible questions. As for somebody saying about penguin, time is 9:25. There you go. I'm not going to sing the anthem on the stream when I don't know anything. I actually like Hail Columbia more than the US anthem, which is the old US anthem. Yeah, but Penguin published loads of books, so most people have it. Right, so I'm not getting any more sensible questions now, so I'll see everybody. And I have no idea when I'm next doing a stream, so I'll see you when I see you.